Bat Force Radio.
Bat Force Radio is rated M for mature, or should that be immature?
Hey guys, Dustin Witt.
Hey, this is Scott Snyder.
This is Paul Dini.
And you're listening to Bat Force Radio.
And you're listening to Bat Force Radio.
You're listening to Bat Force Radio.
This is Kevin Conroy, the voice of Batman, and you're listening to Bat Force Radio, so stay tuned.
Yeah, dude. All right, so I'm super pumped to talk to you, man.
Thanks for inviting me, man. Appreciate it. Dude. I'm stoked to be here too.
I'm not sure how much time you have, so just let me know if you have to hop off. But obviously, I want to talk to you about the music stuff because you got some cool stuff coming out right now with the label. And then, but more importantly, I think let me see how I'm going to do this. This is how I'll do this. So I'll basically kind of explain how I got into the label, and then a little bit more why your label is so fucking cool on another level.
Thank you, man. Thanks for saying that. I appreciate that.
But I think what I should probably do first is introduce you. So you're my guest today, Sean from Desert Wastelands Productions, rather, right?
Yeah.
So welcome, man. Thank you for coming on, like I said.
No problem, man. I'm glad to be here.
Yeah, man. So, like I was saying, I can't remember specifically how I stumbled across the label, but obviously you guys are doing some awesome releases, and I think it's just a lot of people have heard of you by now. Your stuff sells out pretty quick. For example, you just put up some distro items, and I was trying to snag, I think, that Cannibal Corpse Red Before Black tape, and I was I can't remember what it was. I had it in my cart. And then I was trying to select between the two different versions.
Yeah.
But yeah, dude, your stuff, your distro stuff sells out quick. Your label stuff sells out quick. You guys have been doing really awesome. So how did you get started with the label? When did it start? What made you want to do it?
So Derek and I, we've been friends for 10 years now. I met him right after I graduated high school through a mutual friend. And we were working and doing stuff, busy with our lives. And once we got a chance, he was like, "Hey, do you want to restart my band Boethia with me?" That was his band. That was with our other friends were in that band. I said, "Yeah, man." And he was like, he wanted to re-record old songs. I was like, "Well, I got song ideas too, man." And we both love Swedish death metal and stuff. And I sent him some stuff I had recorded with the HM2 tone. He's like, "Dude, let's just do some stuff." So we're let's keep the name, and we just started recording stuff. So anyways, we had Boethia. We released a few things. And after our second release, we were just we had already self-released before that, and we already had a bunch of connections. We were already talking to bands and other people all around the world. And I was like, well, why don't we just make Desert Wastelands an actual label and distro? Because we jokingly made that name up because we love Star Wars. So we had, we always joke around and do the Tusken Raider, holding the whatever it's called, the stick over their head and everything, just we're doing that as a joke, So we're like, man, so our friend, he just made that logo with the Tusken Raider and put Desert Wastelands because we also, we're both from Southern California, Derek and I. I live in New Mexico now, but we're from Southern California. We love guns and shooting everything. We'd always go out to Horde Road over in Mojave and everything, go shooting, and we love Fallout New Vegas. So it kind of we're we're Wastelanders, there's pictures of us in the desert and stuff. I'm Desert Wastelands, and now I live in more of the desert, more so than when I lived in California. So that's how that name came through. So that was the name, and we had the Tusken Raider on our own releases. We even had it on the release we did under a label. I was like, no, now Desert Wastelands has to be real. It's not just a meme. It's real. And I was in the middle of moving to New Mexico, and Derek's like, well, I'm going to start buying stuff. I was like, no, don't do it yet, because, if you do it, then I have to do it. And then he went out and bought a bunch of stuff. I was like, damn it, now I got to do it, now I got to match you. So I bought a bunch of stuff, and then we already had the band Instagram, so we told people, hey, go follow the label, started selling stuff through Restore Envy, and then that's just how it grew, basically,
Yeah.
It was just made so. I mean, I've had people ask us, was it made so you could release your band, and a little bit of both, but I mean, it's mainly so you could sell distros. I was already buying like doubles and triples of stuff, so I was like,
Yeah.
well, might as well resell stuff, and like we already get connections like to getting what we want. Like it was a way for us to like build our own collections, and I was like, well, we know a lot of people already. We can get all sorts of stuff, and that's just grew like that, basically.
That's awesome, man. Yeah, it's like kind of through collecting and doing your own thing with your band. It's kind of it kind of only made sense after a while.
Yeah, I was like, well, we have to fund. And I was like, well, if we want to release more stuff, we have to buy more stuff. And then we ended up. I think we got one of those encoffinized tapes, one of the demos. I bought a lot of tapes from someone. They had like 5 of those tapes in there, and I had them for sale. And Chris from Encoffinize reached out to me. He's like, hey man, do you have any more of those tapes? Those are like rare, like nobody ever has those. I was like, you know what? No, I only had a few of them, He's like, people always ask us for some. I was listening to it, I was like, I can make this sound better. So I remastered it like real quick, over the course of the night, sent it to him, and then they were about to, start working with Maggot Stomp. And he's like, let me talk to Maggot Stomp. So reached out to Maggot Stomp, and I don't know what happened, like some word, I don't know, like there was a miscommunication somewhere. Maggot Stomp was like, no, we're not letting you release this. Like, what are you doing? And I was like, hold on, like, look, I remastered this. The band asked me. I didn't know this. If you want, we'll split release it or something. So we ended up, our first release was a co-release with Maggot Stomp,
Oh, cool.
And a lot of the earlier people don't know that, but I mean, if you look at the first Desert Wastelands tape, it's that encoffinized tape, and it's the Maggot Stomp logo and the Desert Wastelands logo stacked on top of each other, which is kind of weird, not too many people do that, but Scott's a cool dude, and like we wouldn't be doing this like without him, and I've asked him for help and everything, so I mean, he's a great dude. We've met him and Larry, so I mean that's like an integral part of why we're here is like our little friendship,
That's dope, man. Yeah, I've been chatting with Scott. Mostly, he's got. I don't know if you know his actual day job.
He's like a graphic designer or something.
Yeah, and I mean, I don't want to unmask him or take his count.
He does cool stuff. I know.
Yeah, it's cool stuff. Yeah. So, but I'm super into that. So I talked to him a lot about that, and I'm hoping to get him on to talk about that with our other podcast. And but yeah, dude, he's way cool. He's super chill, super funny, and it's awesome. That's another thing too. Is like what I love about your guys' labels is you can tell that you're communicating with each other. You guys support each other. You co-release stuff, and that's what's so freaking awesome about like. It's just fans putting out stuff for fans, and that's so needed, man. Like it's so awesome to see. It's why we love supporting it. Like I make sure to snag some merch whenever I can. But anyways, so one of the reasons why you guys are so cool, in my opinion, is I think just like your aesthetic, like the logos are sick, but you started going hard and heavy with like the alien stuff, and like I think more so than anything, what really drew me to you guys is like whenever you do your Q&As or you're asking me questions, you pretty much answer like anything people send you. And what I started noticing is like, dude, like you guys are like deep into like Egyptology and ufology, and like to the point where I started like looking at the answers you were giving to get my own like references for what I should be reading and stuff. And so like I want to say late 2018, early 2019, dude, I fell into such a rabbit hole because of the Bob Lazar book, and then the Bob Lazar interview that he did. And like I had never heard his story like specifically told by him. So when I read his book, and then like when he actually went into way more detail on his like 3-hour podcast, I was dumbfounded, dude. And I'm like, oh my God. So ever since then, and then right around that time, like I don't know if it was before or after where I started like noticing, how into it you guys were, and you're putting out those questions and telling what books you should read. And I was like, oh my God. And so like I read a couple of, or I grabbed them. I haven't read them yet, but the Graham Hancock stuff, like I need to get into that. But anyways, like I want to talk a little bit about, this is coming out soon. So I don't know the specifics about it, but you just dropped this on a post recently, and it looks so
yesterday.
sick. It's a tapestry?
Yeah, it's the little tapestry in the middle. Just that rectangle. And
Yeah, dude.
we have a artist friend. His name's Death.bait with a little underscore after it on Instagram. If anyone wants to check him out, and he's done tons of art for us. He's done art for our band. He's done that. He's done all the shirts that you've seen. He's done the art for. And like he's just great. Like he's fun to work with. He does good work. I like the way his stuff looks. And it's like, hey, you want to do something in color this time? It's got to be huge. And he we explained to him the theme, and he got it right. He always does. So it's gonna be like 3 foot by 5 foot banners. I'm just waiting to get them made. They should be done pretty quick, and they'll be up for sale.
Yeah,
like
dude.
like $20, real cheap. I mean. If I saw one of them, I'm happy. We made it because I wanted it. I was like, Derek, that's why we make stuff. I was like, all right, I'm gonna make enough so people can get it if they want it. But I mean, the real reason we do this stuff is for ourselves. And I mean, if people like it and they connect with it, that's cool. Like, I'm not gonna be mad if someone doesn't buy it. But that's why we do what we do, is because we love it. And if people want to share in that with us, we're grateful for it. And I'm all for it.
It looks sick it's so sick, dude. Like, I mean, like I said, man, right up my alley as far as like everything going on right now musically, and with like the whole aesthetic of, everything that I've been reading and getting into. So this just, I mean, and plus like I got a 4-year-old kid right now, and he's super hard, heavy into Iron Maiden, specifically the Power Slave album. Right. That's dude. So
the exact influence for this in the Last Label shirt,
Yeah, dude. So he's got his, well, fucking it was mine, but I bought him a NECA Eddie, the Pharaoh Eddie, the from the cover. It's an action figure. It's so sick. It's like actual cloth, and I bought it for myself to do like toy photography and stuff. And the dude swiped it, so he like no questions asked. It's his now. He plays with it, and so like
another one.
Yeah, I had to, man. And the thing is though, like they're $40 because like they're they're collector's items. People don't like to open them, but I like to open it and play with it and like take pictures of it. So I had to get myself my own because my kid stole it. But I'm definitely snagging this. I know he's gonna love it too. He's 4 years old, but he loves mummies. He loves all that stuff. So yeah, this one's gonna be sick. It's gonna go right up on the wall for sure.
Appreciate it, man. It'll look sick up there on the wall.
Oh yeah. And then I wanted to talk about a couple of bangers you just dropped. So this one is one of them. Can you talk a little bit about, first of all, the artwork? My God, from what's his name? It's
Paolo Girardi.
Yeah, dude, what a monster!
So that release, it's funny. I actually found out about them through Chad, the vocalist for Frozen Soul. He messaged me on Facebook. He's like, "Hey, Sean, I got some friends. They have this band. I think they're really cool. I'd like you to check them out." He sent me some links. I was like, Chad, thanks for sending me this. Could you please have them email me? I always ask people to email me because I got a busy life and I can't always reply to every link, or I'll forget about DMs that I've opened. I'm like, hey, tell them to email me, and I'll get back to them. So I listened to it and I was like, man, this is pretty sick. And they emailed me and I was like, oh, good thing they emailed me. I almost forgot. And I just started talking, and we decided to release it. I was really impressed with how it sounded and everything. And this was all DIY. They recorded, mixed, mastered, produced everything themselves, paid for art by themselves. They already came in with a completed product, everything ready to go. They already had merch. They already had merch designs ready. They had this artwork. They already had ideas for layouts. And I was like, these guys think ahead. Like, and that's like a thing we look for in bands that we work with is, are these bands putting in efforts into themselves? Are they putting in any effort into their artwork? Are they putting in effort to their production? Because nowadays anyone could just record a 3-song demo and release it, and it could be good. It could be good. It could be kind of lame. And not every demo, right? Not everything recorded deserves to be released or needs to be released under a label, But I mean, if a band goes through these lengths and everything to do it, and it's that good, it deserves a release, no questions asked. And I love the release. This is one of our favorite things that we've gotten to release. I'm so glad that, Chad sent this over and everything. These guys are awesome. Like, we're always talking and everything. We got some new merch that we're going to drop maybe next week. I just need to work it up. I just got the art finished, and it's a great release, man. I could go on about it. It's always in my car. I always
Yeah.
play this all the time when I'm driving everywhere. The tape sounds great. The LPs, you know, with COVID and everything and delays in the factory, LPs should be here maybe, probably, I'm going to say July now. I think I already posted that. I'm just going to need to send out more emails telling everyone about the delays. But I mean, for the most part, people are pretty respectful and they understand the world situation. I wish it would be easier to get stuff quicker, but it's not, you know, but they're ready to go. I should get test presses soon. It should take 8 to 9 weeks after that to get the finished LPs, and they're ready. This was our first LP release. We weren't even going to release it on LP. It just came out of nowhere because the CD and the tape immediately sold out. So I immediately just repressed them. I was like, you know what? Let's just do this on vinyl right now. Let's just do it. And we did it. And I mean, it's just about to be sold out. So if anyone's listening, you haven't picked this up on LP, grab it now because it's probably going to be gone in the next week or two.
Killer, man.
So, I mean, I love this release and I can't wait for them to do more. They've already been sending me new songs. It's killer. Like, and I always love talking to Quentin, you know, the mastermind behind the band. Like I'm like, dude, how did you record this? How'd you get this guitar tone? How'd you get those drums like to sound so good? Like, you know, I'm always like, what did you do? He's like, man, I don't know what I'm doing. I just watch YouTube. I was like, dude, that's what I do. But apparently you're better at this than me by a lot. So, you know, what YouTube videos are you watching, you know?
Yeah, dude.
Like, so I love that, like, being able to learn from other people and, like, you get inspired. Like, that's why we do this, because we love it, and there's other people that just love the music. It's all about the music. Even without this artwork or anything, you just listen to this, you already know it's going to be good. The artwork just helps, you know?
Yeah.
The whole don't judge a book by its cover thing, it's BS. You look at this, you already know it's going to be good. You know what I mean? Like, you know, like we're visual animals. Like, we have to see stuff, you know, and it helps. And thinks it stands out amongst the crowd from, you know, other things. So yeah, I love this release. I already went on about it forever. So
yeah, no, I think one thing for me that when you guys first dropped the music for it, obviously, like you said, you know, the artwork is killer. This dude's such an absolute monster, such a legend, living legend as far as like album artwork. And he's such a lifer too, man. Like, he loves posting the original paint. It's fucking paintings that he does. That's what's so amazing about it, is this dude is a legit artist with paintings, and he loves posing with the releases, the physical releases, and the shirts. And it's, you know, so for anybody who can't read it, for all you normies, this is Tribal Gaze, and from Texas. And another fucking awesome thing about this is, you just posted that too, is that Max from Sepultura and Soulfly, and Killer Be Killed and Cavalera Conspiracy and all that, he just posted, I think it was on a stream that he was doing. He had this long list of releases that he's currently listening to, and he shouted these guys out. That was so fucking cool to see that.
I know, man. I was like giddy like a schoolgirl when I heard. I was like, what?
Yeah.
I'm like, take this clip, YouTube to you know, YouTube video downloader, clipping it and everything. I was like, guys, look at this, you know. I mean, I was just jamming like Chaos AD, like literally probably like an hour before that at the gym. Yeah. And then I see that, I'm like, what? You know?
Yeah, dude.
I mean, it's
funny.
Cool.
I got into Sepultura late. You know, I was in high school when like nu metal was big. I think I graduated from high school in 2004. So, and I had no like metalhead friends, man. Like, I had nobody to like help me navigate. Yeah. So I was just kind of consuming whatever was in magazines and whatever was like, you know, and that was before the internet and anything. Like, you had to go to a record store to get shit. And so, or, you know, someone gave you a CD, like a burned CD, and fuck it, man. I don't give a fuck what anybody says, dude. I was heavy into Sepultura, fucking Roots, dude. Like, I don't give a fuck what anybody says. Everyone says, oh, that's the shittiest album. Like, fuck you. I don't care, man. Like, that was the one that, like, I think that was the first Sepultura album I heard. And it blew me the fuck away because, like, nu metal was big. Max was somewhat influenced by it, or heavily influenced by it, if you want to say that. But, man, when I was fucking, like, 13, 14, and hearing that album for the first time, the group, like, it knocked my dick off, dude. Like, I'm not going to lie to you. So, I love Max. I love Sepultura. I love, I never really got heavy into Soulfly, but I mean, the stuff that I did hear, he's got some cool stuff. And good on him for keeping it going. And
Yeah.
you'll never take away the fact that the dude's a fucking monumental part of the landscape of metal.
Yeah, it's like no matter what. I mean, Sepultura, and he's still doing stuff. And I think that's what I heard is that his son that's in that band with him. I think, is it Killer Be Killed? His band with his son.
There's he's like in so many. There's another one that he just announced another one. Yeah, I think it's not Killer. Yeah, I don't know what it's. I can't remember what it's called. It's not Killer Be Killed. It's another one that he's in right now with Igor, right?
Yeah, with his son.
Yeah.
Yeah, so he said that he said that I don't know, maybe 10 years ago, his son obviously is in the metal and everything. His son was showing him new bands, getting into bands and everything, and he came back and he started paying attention to what was going on and everything. So I'm like, that's cool. Your kid's showing you bands now, that's awesome. Usually it's your parents or whoever raised you that's showing you music and stuff. I think that's cool that you're getting, he's getting his dad, who is pretty much responsible for death metal, into what's going on now, keeping him up to date and everything, And yeah. I think a lot of guys are out of touch, but a lot of them aren't though. I talked to plenty of dudes that are older, in their 40s and 50s, who are still in the metal and everything, and they pay attention to what's going on. They might have differing views on stuff, but I mean, they know what's going on. They're lifers. They love this music.
It's funny because
it's awesome.
I didn't realize. I'm not not to call him out for being old or anything, but I had heard an interview with Scott from Maggot Stomp, and he's such a young sounding guy. Mm-hmm. That I assumed he was our age, and then he started talking on the interview about the bands that he was into, and he was watching bands in the Sunset Strip, in LA, and I'm like, holy shit, this guy has been around for a while, and he's a perfect yeah, but he's a perfect he's a perfect example of that obviously he's got his ear to the ground, releasing the bands that he's releasing, and like you said, man, he's on it. So he's churning out the stuff that the kids are listening to. So that's really cool to see.
I always think it's funny that I'll hear people say, "Oh, Maggot Stomp is just some trendy kid putting this out." I'm like, do you know who's behind this? Or it's some trendy kid that doesn't know what they're talking about, And I'm just you guys are idiots, man. You don't know who's behind this or anything, Scott's a cool dude, man. He's been in the metal and hardcore scene forever.
Lifers.
Forever. I keep making him sound old when it's hard, but he's cool. He's got a lot of cool stories, and I once I come back to California one of these days, I'd love to meet up with the dude and go to whatever that vegan hot dog place is in LA or something,
I forget. Yeah. He's yeah, man. It's funny. It is funny the preconceived notions people have, but
I'm
what I love about him is I love talking about and he'll talk about the bands that he was into when he was younger, and he doesn't give a fuck if people like it or don't like it or think that it's this or that. I don't give a shit. I like it, and this is what I like about it. And so I think that's what's great. What comes across, not just his label, but I think everybody else's right now, is that we're putting out stuff because we're fans, and this is what we want to listen to, and it's who gives a shit what kind of other people are saying about it. And but again, I want to talk about this one, another recent banger. Yeah, dude, tell me a little. Who did the artwork on this one?
So that was Juan Castellano.
Okay.
I think he's from Spain or Portugal. Correct me if I'm wrong. But he's done a lot of art. I can't even name anything else because he's done so many pieces of art. But he did that artwork for them. It's awesome. We co-released this with Gruesome Records. They're a new label out of Portugal. And then we co-released it as well with Pulverized Records out of Singapore. And he did the vinyl and CD. Gruesome did a European tape, and we did the US tape. And this band's great. I mean, it's mixed and mastered by Dan Swano. The logo is heavily reminiscent of a Swedish death metal overlord band. I'm sure everyone can take a guess by looking at the logo, who it might be. And I mean, the music's great. These guys shred. They're playing crazy solos. the vocals are like unreal, super guttural, but he enunciates so well, and like it's just great, you know.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people are sleeping on this release, you know, and wrongly so. You know, I'm trying to get people to wake up to it, but it's doing good though, you know. But there's a lot of other people that are. I see that sometimes we'll put out a release and people will get to it late and complain that it's sold out. Then, oh, I didn't know about it, you know. But if anyone feels that way or hasn't heard this yet, they should, and I highly suggest it. This band rips.
Yeah.
You know, I think they're great.
This has been on pretty much this Tribal Gaze. Both have been kind of on consistent rotation since they dropped. And what I love about specifically Tribal Gaze is that they have the throwback stuff, and they have the stuff that honors like what the sound is, but I love how modern and like how fresh, and like you could tell that these guys are they got the little thing, they got the throwbacks, but they're wanting to give you the shit that's like fresh right now.
Yeah.
And this is just a fucking ball stomper. Like
it's
this
so
is just
sick.
it's just so fast, so fucking heavy, so like this is like the shit when I'm like speeding. I'll put this on. It's so good, man. So yeah, these two are definitely ones that I am bumping hard. That you guys did an amazing job putting these out and finding these.
Thank you.
I'm super excited for this one right here. I know you probably can't say much maybe about the specifics. I think it's just this was like a little tease, yeah.
Yeah, that's like a little part. Like, well, I'll just say we got some banners of this coming out soon. That's just a small part of a piece that's included in the layout. You know? But it's a sick release. As always, with pretty much every Fluids release, I've played a few solos on this one on guitar for them, and I mean,
oh no shit,
you know, I love the dudes. I love talking to Jan. I just talked to him the other day on the phone, and I mean, we know about their Instagram, so I text him every day, just so I get worse stuff than what you might see on Instagram from them on the daily, you know. And like it's funny, you know, like we're gross. We got the morbid senses of humor, so we're just sending stupid crap to each other every day,
man.
And so banners of this will be coming out. The tapes are ordered. I'm just waiting to see what our release date is going to be because we're co-releasing this with Hell's Headbangers. So
yeah,
we're
you guys are
doing
basically tapes, right?
Yeah, we're doing tapes. Hell's Headbangers doing CD, LPs in the works, but because of factory delays, it's kind of just whatever, you know. Like it's gonna be out. The LP is gonna sell out anyways. It tells Headbangers, you know, they dwarf us with their budget, so they got it covered. You know what I mean?
Yeah, these guys. Shout out to my buddy Brandon Scourge of Vinyl on Instagram, and also I believe he's got a YouTube channel. But he got me into these guys. I think he off the first release. I think it was their first like full length. He got me into that, and I remember these dudes, man. Like, so I think it was. There's been 3 times in my life where I can remember being scared by something that I'm listening to. And the first one, well, I can't remember. The second one for sure. Like I remember I was inebriated and I was listening to an Acacia Strain record. Man, I can't remember which one it was, but it was like 4 or 5 back. And I want to say it was like Doom. Oh, fuck. The intro is called Doom something, but it's like a fake 911 call of a woman like making a 911 call about like a murder that she's just committed, and the ominous. It's just, I remember it was late at night. I shouldn't have been listening to it. I was very scared and I had to turn it off. I was like, I'm gonna come back to that one in the morning. The first
that's how you know it's good.
Yeah. The first Fluids record, I mean, to give background to the people who don't listen to Fluids, they're basically a real and scarier mortician. The drops they use though are actual like cartel video drops.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember, I think it's the first track off that first album and a couple other tracks being sick, dude. I got sick. Like my stomach turned into a knot and I got scared, man. Like I had to look over my shoulder when I had my earphones in on my computer when I was like late at night. And I just remember being like, you get the little crawlies up the spine.
Yeah.
And it fucked me up, dude. And I remember thinking to myself, like, man, I can't remember. I remember now. I was a kid listening to the second Slipknot album, and it was the intro to the second album where what's his name is like just doing some weird gurgling noises with the stuff, the scratches in the background. And I was too scared. Yeah, that I listened to that when I was a kid in bed at like 11. I had to turn that off. And then this was the same thing, man. Like, it gave me goosebumps, and I remember thinking, like, this is so, like, I can't remember the last time music did that to me. It made me so scared, and that's so fucking awesome because it's so rare for that to happen. And I love these dudes, man, and they're fucking great, dude, because like they embrace the meme of it, but they fucking have killer fucking tracks, dude. Like,
oh yeah,
they're one of my favorites right now, like by far. And I love you're always fucking championing them, saying that they're heavier than Mortician and they're a better Mortician. I love seeing that too. It's fucking funny. Pissing people off.
I'm like half joking with that, but I think Fluids is better than Mortician. Like, I'm not the biggest Mortician fan. I think they're good. I think they're a cool band. I respect them.
You made so many people mad just now.
But Fluids is just, people are gonna be mad. I don't care. Like, that's another thing. We like to just speak our minds on this, but I'm like, Mortician doesn't have real samples. Mortician doesn't have cool synth intros and stuff. Mortician doesn't have freaking as awesome vocals. Like, you can't even hear the vocals in Mortician. It's all freaking drowned out. Fluids is better. I don't care. Like, they have better groove. The songs are better. Like, like I don't care. I think they're a better band,
Yeah, you certainly don't get any hate from me. I mean, I love Mortician. I love Mortician, so I don't give a fuck what people say one way or the other. But I agree with you as far as it's just so fucking cool. I mean, it's so awful, really, what they're doing. It's just awful. And I remember, like, when I first got into them, DMing Scott and being like, dude, these guys, what the fuck? And he's like, yeah, they're touched. And like you're saying, man, like there's just certain parts of the mind where I can't go into it. And these dudes, like, they have no problem going there, and it's so in your face and scary, but that's what makes it amazing, dude. Like, this is the kind of shit that you would like hide under your bed from your parents because you didn't want them knowing what you got into,
Oh yeah.
But yeah, dude.
I mean, they're all pretty lighthearted dudes. I mean, I talk to Jan all the time. Jan's a jokester, like, he's not really grim and morbid except in maybe humor, but I mean, so am I, like he's hilarious. I love talking to him and everything, like we just get along good. He lives in Phoenix, which is a few hours away from me. So one of these days we'll meet up, you know. So it'll be a good time.
So obviously, man, the music is unreal. I love the label because of that. But again, like I said, I think what kind of breaks or branches my love off for you guys and what you're doing is just the rabbit hole that I've fallen into, man. And dude, I'm telling you, like, pretty much every family member and friend of mine is fucking fed up with, like, they're done with me, dude. And I told them, I sent a group chat text message to like my best friends, and I was like, hey guys, I'm pretty much at that place of no return where you say, oh man, we lost him, and I'm right there, and like I'm about to, like, I'm one book away from reading something to where, like, this is all I care about now. And something that I love about your label is, you embrace the image, but then, like I said, man, you're totally into this shit too, as far as like the UFO phenomenon. And, it's not like, it's not a meme. It's not a conspiracy anymore. The government is legit, like, talking about, it's fucking nuts. And most recently, this is the craziest fucking thing I have ever.
There's even better picks.
I know. And I just was quickly looking for some. There's video, obviously, that people can look for it. But dude, Jesus fucking Christ, flying So what I loved about it is Jeremy Corbell made sure to explain, like, these aren't triangles; these are pyramid shaped UFOs.
Yeah.
So, like, legitimately 3D, not saucers, not boxes, pyramid shaped. and there's somebody else like on UFO Twitter posted like a recreation of the video of what it would look like being on the deck of the ship that took the video of this.
Yeah.
And that is fucking unreal if you watch that. But yeah, dude, like, so where did you get in? How did you get into this stuff? And like, what do you think about it right now?
So, I mean, all my life, I've always loved, same as you. I've always been into fantasy and sci-fi and everything, And maybe I'd say what really started is maybe I was like 4 or 5 years old. I'm gonna be 28 soon. I was born in '93, and I remember watching. I remember watching Aliens. Like with my dad when I was like 4, and that scared me, a little bit. But you know what? You're gonna laugh. You know what movie actually did it for me, which terrified me? It was Mars Attacks.
Oh shit!
Mars Attacks like destroyed me. I was like legitimately afraid I was gonna be like abducted from my room and stuff. I was like afraid. I was like, this is real. This is gonna happen. I was like afraid as a kid. But as I got old, like we all grew up, people, like Santa Claus and stuff. I was like, oh, it's not real, But I don't know. I used to go to the library a lot as a kid, and I would check out books, So I don't remember what it was. This was maybe in like 4th or 5th grade. I checked out a book that was about abductions or something, and then from there I was like reading it, and I was like, what the heck? And like my dad's like, oh, it's not real, And I just keep reading about it, and then eventually get access to the internet freely when I was like in 6th grade, So like 2003, 2004, because I'm younger than you. So around the time you were getting ready to graduate high school, that's about to say the internet was becoming more mainstream, I guess, and more freely accessible. So once I got the internet, that's when I was like checking stuff out, reading weird forums, and then it just grew from there. And same thing for my partner Derek. Like we've just been interested in this forever, and that's pretty much how it goes. I can't really think of a direct point, but I've just always been interested in conspiracy theories and the occult and everything for all my life, really.
Yeah, Mars Attacks, man. That's Tim Burton, and
great movie.
Yeah, dude. The thing about what really fucked me up about that is that they were like super aggressive evil aliens.
Yeah, they were like just killing random people and stuff.
Yeah,
it was funny, but they were evil.
Right.
They wanted to kill everyone.
Straight evil reptilians, dude. Not the nice grays. But yeah, dude. So you got started young, man. Like I've always had like a fascination, but I wouldn't say that I started researching up until more recently when I really started like everything. Like my favorite, and I've been thinking about this question, like what's my favorite like alien movie? Obviously, I think Aliens is pretty hard to fucking top. Because it's like the first one's like a classic scary horror movie, the first Alien.
Yeah.
The second one is like a fucking war alien movie, which I love, like with the commandos and that whole fucking thing of being picked off like that with having the firepower to fight them. Yeah. That one's dope. Aliens is sick. But I would have to say, like, if you were to ask me, like, what's your favorite like alien movie, dude? Like, as cheesy as it sounds, man, I'd have to say Independence Day.
Dude, no, I was about to bring that up too. That movie rules.
Dude, specifically because, like, especially now looking back, it does, like, I fucking love the whole sequence of Area 51 that they do.
Yes, dude. Oh my, that was an influence on the look of the label, and that was like also an eye opener for me at that age as well. When I saw it, because that movie came out 96, so I saw it in like 97, 98 when I was in kindergarten. But good thing you brought that up.
Yeah, dude. It was like I don't I gotta go back and I gotta do my history and see what other movies are out there that are really good. But as far as like modern day with like decent digital special effects, I mean it's hard to top the Area 51 aspect of that movie. And and now that I've been doing the research and reading, and like obviously the writers or producers or whoever were definitely doing their homework and tapping into the whole what it looked like, where it was, how they communicate telepathically and all that shit. Kind of I'm like, all right, these guys kind of know their stuff. So yeah, man, and I've been going back, dude, like I mean, here's another one that's more recent. I think in the last couple of years, from the cockpit.
Dude, that picture's amazing. Yeah.
Dude. And this one's from the cockpit of that fighter pilot, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and I didn't download the other one. The other one's like they've been calling it the Batman balloon, where it looks like there's literally a Batman balloon that kind of looks like that shape, but it was actually a cube and not that shape. But I think this is from the same pilot, I think, from what I was reading. But this is one of the more modern, like clear looking ones that's like holy fucking shit.
One of my followers, he took some pictures like of his own and was like, comparing them to this and sending them to me, like emailing me them like every day.
Shit.
So I was like, I love
you got to
it.
send me those, dude.
Yeah, I'll share them with you. They're pretty awesome, man. And when he sent me this, and I was like, what the fuck? And then one of my friends, he sent me like a very clear black triangle, you know. And I've always talked about that. Like everyone should look up Astra TR3B program and just read about it. ASTRA3B. Just look it up. Use DuckDuckGoose or something. You'll get better search results like that. And just read about it. And there's a lot, you know. But these are pretty sick. And with everything that's coming up in June and everything, do I really think the government's been like, yeah, we have UFOs. Yeah, we have aliens. Like, no, they're going to make some vague comment, you know. Or who knows, they might say, yeah, we have some stuff we're researching. Yeah, a lot of these crafts are ours. Oh, actually, we don't know what they are. You know, it's not going to make any sense. But the fact that the government has acknowledged it and said that there's weird stuff going on, some of it we don't know what it is, that's more than enough to you know, give everyone, you know, an idea of what's going on in the world. And I brought this up with my roommate and I, we're always talking about this stuff at night, you know. And so what's, like, you know, I showed him that Tic Tac video from the you know, from the Navy
Commander
ship.
Fravor, yeah.
Yeah, and he's all like, he's like, well, what if it's just a super advanced weapon? I said, man, what's scarier? The government has super advanced technology that could possibly advance civilization and help people in the world, and they're hiding it, or it's a UFO. Either possibility is scary. You know,
yeah,
like I was like, more than anything, both are true. You know,
yeah.
So I'm like, what's scary? They're hiding cool stuff, or you know, or that it's something they don't know. Either one, you know, is a fuck you basically. Like,
yeah, I haven't got. So what I've been doing is I'm trying to be going chronology from Roswell and up to recent. So like I've been mostly doing like books that focus on like the 50s through the 70s, and then eventually what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna work my way back to like Egyptology and Sumerians and all that shit. But I want to get like the timeline of when this stuff started popping off. And what I haven't gotten into yet, obviously, because it's so more modern, is the Black Triangle thing. But I mean, a little bit here I've been seeing and reading, but it sounds like the Black Triangle stuff is like the reverse engineering aspect of it, of successfully reverse engineering parts of it.
Exactly.
And like, so potentially not even ours. Like those are probably like Russian or Chinese or some shit.
I'd say they're ours. They're definitely the U.S. Because most of the sightings, almost all of the sightings are here in the U.S. They're all in the Midwest. They're all places near Air Force bases, or you know, so it's all Washington, where there's like 4 like Air Force bases and like a triangle, you know, like on a map if you were to plot them and stuff. Or they're out here in the desert. They're out in Phoenix, or they're out in the Midwest, or they're out on the East Coast. And I've also heard of sightings in the UK, like also near Air Force bases and stuff out there and everything too. Some stuff in South America and everything. But I mean, the craziest thing is that a lot of these pictures, like they're not even like hidden anymore. It's like broad daylight when people are seeing this. So I'm like, all right, come June, are they just gonna be like, oh yeah, we have these cool, you know, gravity defying, you know, flying saucers just to like flex on the world and, you know, scare everyone? Like, well, that would be stupid for them to do. You know, for the government to do. Like I don't know. Like I can never predict what would happen. You know, like, because truly, like, it doesn't matter. Like, government's gonna do whatever they're gonna do. It doesn't matter. We're never gonna know. You know, but I mean, there's cool stuff going on. You know, and that's acknowledged, and I think more people are opening up to that. You know, or they might not, and whatever. I think that there's crazy stuff going on in the world that'll expand your mind and make you think differently about our place in the universe and stuff, you know.
Yeah. It's funny how you mentioned about like in broad daylight, because I've been looking at that too. I'm like, all right, well, if this shit's true, and people say this all the time, they're like, and Elon Musk himself, who I believe is just fucking covering for stuff that he probably already has his own, he's probably working with whoever and he's the private sector that they're pouring money into so they can keep it even secret from other government. But his thing is like, why is there no clear photos of this stuff? There's our technology with camera phones is now so good that why isn't there? And the thing is like, dude, like honestly, in my opinion, I think the best photos of this shit are not digital camera phone photos, are the fucking like film photos that were taken back in like the 50s and shit. For example, this one from Oregon in 1950, like this is a really famous one of that. I think his name is the Trent Farm photo.
Yeah.
So this is like one of like three. He took three in a row. So first there's one where it's like right by his roof, and then it's right here, and then it's like flying away, and it's like already up in the clouds. But this shit, I was reading the Hynek report book. I just finished that one. And Hynek is saying that like they looked at this photo, they analyzed it. This was like in the 70s. They looked at it. They fucking had like photography experts look at it, and they're like, yeah, this is not fake. Like there's this guy was a credible witness who definitely took a picture of something flying through the air. And from the farmer's explanation, it's like a classic disc shaped. It's got the thing protruding from the top, which Bob Lazar says is emitting the gravity shit, And so this is like an example of this is done on fucking film, dude. Like it's so hard to fake that shit at the time.
Yeah, people are like, "Oh, they're just throwing frisbees." I'm like, "No, that's."
They test that. They actually tell you in the book. Hynek talks about how they do those tests, and because of the way, like they do that on purpose because of the way the light hits and the different things and the degrees of all this shit. And he talks about how this is not possible to do it. My favorite one. And I think I already have one pic of it, but this is my favorite because it's in Santa Ana in Southern California. This is from the dude that was working on, I think he's like a land surveyor or something, but he was working off the highway, and his job requires him to have a Polaroid camera to take pictures of his land surveying work. And the dude was like sitting for his lunch break, and he hears this like swoosh, and he looks up, and this shit flies right over the front of his car off to the right, and he took this from I think the passenger side looking out.
In broad daylight too.
Broad daylight. Fucking like look at that thing. And again, have you read the Hynek report book?
I haven't, but I'm familiar with it and watched stuff on it and everything.
So what's amazing is he took 4 photos. He had 4 Polaroids, right? So he took 4 Polaroids. This is like the second one. The third one I think it's a little bit further away, and they're so fucking clear. They're so crisp. They look all just like this. He's got an angle from the bottom. He's got an angle a little bit from the side top. And then he's got this one. And the fourth one is like when it's already like up in the clouds, a little bit flying away. Yeah. And the first thing I think he did is he told his boss. He called his boss at work. Then he told like the local sheriff or whatever. Hynek and the Air Force got involved because they were investigating all this shit. And somebody from NORAD, I think it was NORAD, some other agency, because you know how the government doesn't fucking talk to each other and each department does their own thing and they want to get their hands on the same shit, so they're always in competition. I think it was NORAD. Yeah. So these dudes that were in competition with the Air Force, I can't remember who it was. He says that they took the 3 Polaroids from him, the originals. He had already duplicated them and they'd made copies, but they took the 3 originals and they left and they never gave them back. And so the guy's like, fuck, man, like I was too trusting of the government. They took my originals. They're not going to give them back. I think like 30 years later, a lady calls him and says, hey, I have some mail for you. Sends him his originals back. Like somebody in the private sector was able to get their hands on the photos. They send his photos back. So then he gives them back to, I can't remember if it was Hynek or who it was. They analyze the photos and they're like, yeah, this shit's fucking legit. Yeah. And he's a credible witness. The dude wanted to be anonymous for the longest time. Didn't want to, put his name out there. Mm-hmm. So this is one of my favorites because it's so clear and like,
I know, it's
so
an
obvious.
Insane picture. And it's in Santa Ana. Like, I'm like thinking, I was like, well, that like 60 years ago, where we go see. I'm trying to think what's in Santa Ana. Oh, that venue,
observatory.
The observatory, going shows, that happened just right down the street.
So amazing, yeah. And this one was somewhere in South America. I can't remember like off of what island.
That one's freaking crazy.
Yeah, there's like I think there was 3 photos of this where it was the dude on the boat. There was a docked boat, and I don't know if they're military or what they were, but they were. Yeah, he was like I think this guy was a photographer, like a military photographer, and he just happened to be there, and it came out from behind those ridges, and it went up into the clouds, and they interviewed like all the people on the boat. They interviewed everybody who there was like 14 people that saw it. They interviewed all of them. They're like, yeah, we fucking definitely saw some shit, and you can't see because it's black and white, but it was, all the lights were crazy and stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, dude, I mean, like I said, man, I've been going back from the 50s, basically the end of the 40s through the 70s. I'm kind of there right now. And it's another thing I was talking about or reading, a question that comes up is, well, how could they keep all this secret? There's no way that anything really happened at Roswell and maybe beyond, because we'd know about it. If they recovered stuff, people would talk. You can't keep that shit secret. And I always thought, yeah, they're right. Okay, it's impossible to keep something like that secret, and that'd be everywhere. I start reading this book specifically. I think it's called UFO Secrets, Wright-Patterson Air Force Base. I think that's the name of the book. The best one I've read so far out of everything that I've been reading as far as like craft recovery and stuff, because it's like 90% comprised of interviews that they do with ex-military, military family members, and military family friends. And dude, basically everyone snitched before they died. Like,
oh yeah,
everybody who was involved, like fucking the pilots that flew the shit, the drivers that drove it, the engineers that worked on it, the scientists that worked on it. Specifically, Wright-Patterson Air Force Base is apparently where they would take any crashed craft and any bodies and put them there. And dude, like I'm reading, there's like 20 people, they're naming names of these people saying, yeah, my father was an engineer. He came home, he told me what he was working on. Or I knew my father was working at Wright Air Force Base right before he died. He told me right before he died that he saw bodies. He worked on them. Dude, I'm reading this shit. Like everyone's fucking talking. Like, and obviously they're not going to put this in the press, but I was like, oh my God, like it's been there the whole time. Like it's just been out there. And that's the part where I think I lose all my family and friends, where they think I'm fucking crazy. It's like, is this part of the conversation?
But like you were saying, there is no way to keep it secret. Even the fact that we have entire books written about this and there's witnesses and everything for Roswell and stuff, it's not a secret. It's a cover-up.
Right.
Yeah. But like just any talk of it doesn't allow it to be secret. A secret is nobody knows about it. And if you freaking think about it, the men in black are gonna knock on your door, and like take you away and lock you up, But no, it's all cover-ups. It's all things people have seen. And yeah, there could be any varying number of exaggerated like reports or fake stories, but I'm like other things. I'm like no, like there's so much more legitimate things than there are fake things.
Right.
I'm like people are gonna fake people are gonna fake stuff. Like that's just how it is. Like we're humans, for whatever reason. But I was like, there's plenty of other stuff I have no reason not to believe, especially when we have crazy ass pictures like those ones from the 50s, and now the ones that are coming up now and stuff. Like there's so much crazy stuff,
Yeah.
Like it's insane, And so where I'm in New Mexico, I'm about, I'd say like 4 hours away from Roswell, and it's gorgeous out here, They have the Alien Festival every year around June, July-ish, We'll see if it happens this year. I'd love it to,
Yeah.
We'll see what happens and everything, But I mean, there's no reason not to believe that the government can cover up stuff like this when we have so many other nefarious things that the government does and everything. I'm like, you guys really think that your best interests are at heart? Like, it doesn't matter. Like we were saying, like CIA, FBI, departments of the government, they work together, but they're also working against each other. I mean, prime example, look at Waco. Look at Ruby Ridge. God. Look at all this shit. Like they're like, no, we're not going to tell them about this because we want to handle it for whatever glory, and it went horribly wrong. So there's no like unification between these bodies. They're just doing stuff. We don't know what they're doing. They don't know what each other are doing. They're spying on each other. They're spying on us. They're like it's a mess,
Yeah.
Like the government's just fractioned. You know, it's crazy to even think that, but it's like that worldwide. Like, there's so much stuff going on. It's just insane. Like, there's so much crazy stuff going on. And I mean, there's so much stuff that you can read about. You can read about the MK Ultra mind control programs. I mean, the Tuskegee experiments that they did on African Americans back in, like, just all sorts of stuff that's true. I'm like, okay. Oh, well, they did that then. You don't think they're doing it now? Like, there's so much crazy crap going on, you know?
Straight Nazi shit.
Yeah, and like, it's funny you bring that up. I was gonna bring that up. So, have you seen those pictures from World War II? Like what the Germans had? They had like some like UFO looking craft and everything.
Yeah, like they were like there's real photographs of them like designing disc shaped craft.
Yeah, and they were like flying, and like some of them sucked, some of them didn't. You know, my roommate and I always talk about this. We're like, they don't really know. You know, but I was like, what if that wasn't actually Hitler that died in a Fuhrer bunker? What if he got out? We always talk about this and like crazy stuff that like we think he died, or they say that he died. Like we don't know. Like what if he escaped? What if other people escaped? What if they escaped in these things? It might be crazy and fantastical to think about that, but they already had some crazy technology.
Yep.
We took all of their scientists, Werner von Braun and all these guys. They made our space program and everything. A lot of this like terrible research and everything that they're doing and terrible experiments on human beings, they took this and used it for something, because it would have, it was already a terrible thing to do, but it would have been even worse if they didn't use this whatever kind of information they could get from these terrible experiments on people and put it to some use, so it wasn't a total loss and failure on their part. Like, it's just terrible. You got to get something out of it. So like there's so much crazy stuff going on, and maybe you've read it in the books already, but I've read a lot of these accounts saying that like these guys will see these, like especially like in the 1950s, like right after World War II, guys were like saying that they saw like craft land, and they'd be like white, blonde haired, Germanic looking people like inside of it, and like there's all sorts of crazy things. Whether it's true or not, I don't know. That's like a really weird out there story to make up for no reason.
Yeah.
There has to be some semblance of truth, like a grain at least somewhere that this happened, and I think it's interesting to think about, like in Antarctica, like people escaping to Antarctica. We know that a lot of war criminals escaped to Argentina and South America. We know about that, like I think that village that's in Brazil or Argentina where there's a super high like percentage of twins born in that village, and then they said that there's a German doctor there like researching and everything. Sounds like Joseph Mengele, like there's all sorts of crazy things going on. It's almost like any of these is possible, and I don't know, it blows my mind. It's crazy to like read into this stuff and actually find things like maybe,
Yeah.
But I mean, the fact that it's just crazy.
That's the scary part for me is like and I haven't really gotten into it yet. I haven't really like started reading the stuff that dives into that, but because right now, like I said, I'm trying to go timeline wise as far as like if I pretended that I was someone in the 1940s and the 1950s and this shit landed, like I'm gonna go from there to like explode into the information that what it all means. But the one thing that scares me is the theories that okay, maybe they're not extraterrestrial, maybe they're interdimensional. And if they're interdimensional and time traveling, because that's basically what you're kind of doing also, like what if these are fucking Nazis from the past that were actually able to like harness the technology, and like that's how they pieced out and skipped out. Like they knew that they knew they were falling. Like, I mean, they all knew that what was coming, right? And if they have the ability to escape a way that no one can fucking find them, like this would be the best way to do it.
Yeah.
And that's what scares me is like, well, not scares me, but what blows my mind is like, okay, yeah, maybe they're extraterrestrial as far as like, maybe they're from a different galaxy, but what if they're us? What if they're us from the future? What if they're us from some distant past where like Graham Hancock says we forgot or we didn't, somehow the technology and somehow that stuff got interrupted and we just forgot about it and moved on. But these are the remains, or this is the future of like them opening a porthole, coming into the current time to either influence or do research on. I think I can't remember where I read it, but it was something like someone believes that, it was the Rendlesham Forest, the Rendlesham Forest landing with the guy. the dude that says he touched the craft.
Yeah.
And he thinks that what happened is he thinks so. If you ask him, he's like, no, they're not aliens, they're time travelers. And so he thinks that it's someone from the future, people from the future that are coming back to study our, like, to try to terraform their world back to what ours was, because their shit's all fucked up. Yeah. So they got to come back in time to like fix their soil or whatever, or crops. That's to me, I'm like, holy fuck. Like, and if you know, the way I see it now is like, I believe that there's crafts that are doing this stuff. Okay, well, if I believe that there's crafts that are doing this stuff, what the fuck's inside of them? Where are they coming from? And if I believe that they're real, I have to believe that there's a possibility that these things could be a number of different things. One being extraterrestrial, the other being interdimensional, time traveling. And that's just where I'm like, oh my God. And yeah, dude, like I said, man, I love talking about this stuff because I've literally I've pushed my family away. I've pushed like some of my friends away because they, you know, I think a lot of this stuff is really scary. People's lives are difficult. I'm not going to downplay that, but if you really think about the broad picture of things, there's a lot of problems that are minuscule in comparison to what the big picture of like life is. And I think it's easy to just kind of go about your day pretending that this stuff isn't real because it's scary to think about it. And so,
yeah. And I mean, like you said, it makes people feel unimportant, you know, yeah. Like they're like, there's something greater than me, you know, they don't want to explore that side, you know, whether it's physically or scientifically or, you know, I mean, both to me, the same thing, you know, but it's crazy, you know, it's like, it is scary, you know. And like you're saying, like, are they interdimensional? Are they extraterrestrial? And people will ask me like specific questions like that. And I always answer them like, they're both, you know, They're both. And actually it doesn't matter, you know, because if you know, I'm sure you're familiar with the multiverse theory and infinite realities and everything. Yeah. You know, I was like, any and all, there is no time. Any and all possibilities exist together at the same time. Anything can happen right now. Past, present, future is all the same. There's only present. So, you know, whether they're advanced, you know, beings coming back or other things coming in, it doesn't matter. You know, it's just happening. All of those possibilities are happening. You know, they could be everything, you know. There's so much crazy stuff going on, you know. Like, it's any number of possibilities, really. It's kind of hard to just, you know, look for one specific path to tell you what's going on. They're kind of all going on, you know. Yeah. And that's what's crazier, you know.
That kind of like reminds me of and you know, this stuff, like just looking into this stuff, reading this stuff, it gives me such a fucking mind-blowing appreciation for some other stuff, like Interstellar, like pretty much is, without going out and saying it, basically says it that, like, you know, it's us, right? It's us, and it's not us from the future. It's not us from the past. It's us from the multiple dimensions and realities that you can, like, I fucking love it, man. Like, love is what is the universal constant. Like, love travels through space, and it's the only thing that can travel through space and time and exist the exact same way in one dimension as it does in another. And especially connecting people together, like the way he was able to connect to his daughter was because of their love together. So, like, that's the one thing that travels through space and time unbroken, and that's how he dude, like, anyways. But yeah, man, it's like, that's why I love that movie, is because it's a very superficial example of it. But it's a very superficial example of, like, the fact that this, like what your argument in saying, like, they're not extraterrestrial or time traveling, they're both, you know, or interdimensional, they're both. And it's us the entire time. And like, and it scratches the surface a little bit too with like ghosts and like, what is a ghost? What's the spirit realm? What's this plateau? And it's fucking like, dude, this movie is so simple. It's like the tip of the iceberg. It's such a McDonald's spoon-fed version of all this stuff, but it's like, it touches on fucking ghosts. It touches on time travel. It touches on extra, and it's like, it's all the same shit rolled into one. Like, he's a fucking ghost. He's an alien. He's a time traveler. Like, it's all the same thing. And that's what, like, this stuff is starting to lead me to also, is like, I grew up Catholic, and It's funny how everyone says the stupid joke, I'm a recovering Catholic, but it's really true. Because like, if you grow up in a spiritual, like if you grow up in a highly pressurized spiritual or religious environment, you're forced to believe it. It's just doctrine that you like this. It's just repetition. This is what you believe.
Yeah.
This is what's real. This is what, and you grow up resenting it. So you grow up, you become an adult, you resent it because it's like, I don't fucking believe that. I was forced to believe it. And then you start looking at this other shit and you're like, all right, well, maybe not all that's fake. Like maybe some of that shit had a point, and it may be like, they're missing the mark a great deal, but maybe there's people in history that were trying to tell us something. And like when you strip it down and you look at what it really is, it's basically like, hey, motherfucker, like, here's what you need to survive and have a good life. Just do that. And we keep fucking that up. So something keeps having to interject itself to try to help us back. And like all this stuff is basically just an example of that. I think is like it's no question that we are fucking up our world badly through like just what we do physically to the planet and also what we do to ourselves as a species. And if there is some sort of higher designer or power, it totally makes sense that they've seen where this will lead, and they're probably going to want to do something to, hey dude, no, like stop, like, or try to help us along in one way or the other. Because if you follow any religious text, that's what they've been doing the whole fucking time. Like it's just that we don't know as humans how to kind of like interpret or explain it. And this is like, oh, it's a god, oh, it's a fucking burning wheel. This like if you look at the religious texts of the Bible and the Torah, like Ezekiel saw a burning wheel in the sky.
Chariot, yeah.
What the fuck that's exactly what we're seeing now, dude.
Yeah.
Like it's funny how, but and I have a lot of religious family and friends, and they got their blinders on so hard that they don't want to believe that any of this shit could be anything than what it is that they're taught. And it's like, dude, like if you believe that and you believe that shit's true, then you have to open up yourself to the possibility that it's actually this the whole time. And it's okay. It's not demonic. It's not satanic. It's not, it's the same thing. It's just that like, you're not, it's like I said, man, like I could fucking talk about this shit for days, dude. And
I think because, after, all that you just said right now, I think that you'd enjoy this book. I'll recommend you this book. Read The Kabbalion by the Three Initiates. Just check it out. So it's Kybalion. Just look it up. You should be able to find it. Trust me, read it, and I think it'll put everything that you just told me into perspective, and you already see it, and it'll explain it better than I can. But I think you're getting there. Like you're gonna understand, what I mean soon.
It's
I had the same upbringing as you. My mom's Mexican. I went, to Catholic Sunday school and everything. By the time I was like 10 or 11, I was like, nah, this is fucking weird. I was like, this is fucking weird. Like this, I was like, number one, this sucks. This is fucking dumb. This is lame. And then like, I'm listening to like Iron Maiden. I'm like listening to Slayer. I'm like, that was kind of cool. I'm like, this is dumb. So same upbringing.
So before I go, I want to ask you, what do you think the connection is to the ancient world, man? Because like I said, dude, I have not scratched the surface of the areas that you've already delved into. Like I haven't even gotten into the Graham Hancock stuff. I haven't gotten into Egypt and all that. But what's your take on all that stuff?
So I mean, it's pretty much, similar to the Graham Hancock thing. I think that human civilization is much older than what we're taught to believe. Especially the pyramids weren't built by Egyptians. I believe that Atlantis was real, and whether it was an allegory for another civilization or whether the literal Atlantis was real, I think that it was real. Our history is way older. We've seen a lot more. I think we've been more advanced in the past. I do think that the pyramids are some sort of power plant or electromagnetic, generators or something. There's a lot of different things you can read about it. Just human civilization's old, question everything, and there's so much more to learn, and we're all not so different from each other. We're all pretty much the same consciousness experiencing itself over and over again times infinity.
Yeah, dude. Jesus fucking Christ, man. Dude, this was a blast, dude. Like, I really just was excited to talk to you just because, like I said, man, I've been getting into some stuff that nobody else is willing to kind of like. It's a scary topic. It's a crazy topic, and if you're not willing to kind of dive deep into it, like, no one really wants to talk about it. So, man, I hope after June, I know they're not going to have like anything that is going to satiate any of our hunger.
Just the grain.
Yeah, they're probably gonna, like, what was the last thing that they said? The last thing that they basically kind of leaked out was we have off-world crafts that we're studying. Like, that's all they said.
That's all they said. And I'm like, that's more than enough.
Right.
They already said too much right there,
Yeah. But yeah, dude, yeah, man, like, whenever you want to come back and just chat about this crazy shit, obviously.
Always, man.
Yeah, dude,
Always
this
down.
was a blast. If anybody has not checked out your label, Desert Wastelands Productions, one of my favorite death metal labels right now, one of my favorite metal labels overall. Like, you guys have some sick releases already out and coming up. So, yeah, dude, this was a blast, man. I really appreciate it.
Thank you, Tom. Man, thanks for inviting me, man. I always love to talk about the label, talk about literally everything. I like to talk, man. I'm always down to talk. I lead a busy life, so when I get a chance to be able to do something like this, it's awesome, especially when, it's you rule, you're fun to talk to, man. I appreciate it.
Thanks, dude. This was a blast, man. So, yeah, dude, I'll hit you up online. I'm gonna ask you again what that book was, and then you got to send me the UFO videos that people send you, or the photos that people send you, because I really want to
send them over to you, man. I'll send them over to you on Instagram. I'll just DM them to you, man.
All right, man. Thanks a lot, dude.
All right, no problem, man. Thank you.
Have a good rest of your weekend, dude.
You too, man.
Later.
Bye-bye.